Hello and welcome back to another episode of Dookie Forge. This one should be, well, in my opinion, a pretty big milestone. We finished up the cart a little while ago and I'm going to attempt to, well, take it out and give it a shot. There's been a little bit of a slowdown just because ever since I actually finished the cart, the mobile forge, it's either snowed or rained every single weekend. And this is, it just, it's been raining nonstop, and I'm just going to take it out and give it a shot and take it out to the park and test it out. And we'll see what happens. There's a few last speed bumps, I guess, that I have to get past to actually make sure everything works. And, well, the first one is getting out of the building again. It's actually surprisingly challenging. The next one is, can I even get up the hill? There's a hill that I have to go up. If you remember from when I was touring the park and trying to find a location, everywhere I go, essentially it's not super steep, but it's a noticeable hill, and it's pretty long. So if I don't even know, I could get just stuck on the hill halfway, and everybody can laugh at me. And if that's the case, well, then I'll have to figure something out. But then the third speed bump is, let's say I get over the hill, then I actually have to get to the park. And unfortunately, it has still been raining, so it might be still too wet, but I figured I'm just going to go out there and take a chance and figure some stuff out. Worst comes to worst, I just have to come back and do something else. So, well, let's go for a ride. Let's see. Well, made it outside. So now, let's go get stuck on a hill, hopefully not. Oh yeah. No, I'm good, thank you. All right, I want to pull over for a second. Oh my God. Fix the camera. All right. First off, probably can't see me, but holy shit. That was, getting you can't tell, I don't really work out, but I was on the edge of failure right there at the top of the hill. And I will say, the sidewalk is a hell of a lot bumpier than you'd think. Things are flying all over the place, and I couldn't stop to adjust the camera or nothing, as if I stopped I wouldn't be able to get going again. And there's no way I could do that twice. No way. That's a full day's workout. That's like a full-on sled push, strongman stuff. Now, let's just hope that I can actually get into the park and it's not too wet. Because getting to the park from here, excuse me, isn't too awful. But we'll see. All right, it's probably pretty noisy because of all the traffic, but I made it to the park. It was a pretty big struggle, to say the least. I am going to take a few minutes break here because it's way more exhausting than you think. But if we look behind me or in front of me and behind the camera, there's some mulch, some grass, and then the first baseball diamond. And gosh, I'm so out of shape. My chest hurts. So I think I'm gonna walk out there and test out some of the mulch, but I think if I can get some speed from, you know, over here and vroom, 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 I think I can get out to the baseball diamond. I don't think I can get out to the far one. One, because the grass is pretty muddy. So I don't want to risk getting stuck out there because, well, I don't have anybody out here to help me or, you know, get me unstuck or anything like that. So I'll be back. I'll be back in a couple minutes after I've rested and give this thing a shot, I think. I tested out the mulch. I pushed about half the cart on it and immediately got stuck. Unfortunately, it's just, I might be able to make it out there, but it needs to be a little bit drier. It's just a little too squishy and I lose too much momentum. And well, I'm gonna rest here a little bit more. I did see a parking lot over there that said authorized vehicles only. I could pull in there and go to the back and kind of set up and hope for the best. It does look tempting, I will tell you that. Violators will be towed. Huh. Well, I'm either gonna have to... Well, actually, you know what? Looks like the trucks have been coming out of that driveway, this driveway. Park operations. So this is where they've been coming from. Okay. Now, the downside is, if I were to set up in this parking lot, it's literally right next to the park offices, which is, well, active. So, do I want to risk it for the biscuit? Tell you what, I might not set up, but I'm gonna roll around there just to see how it is. You know, testing the waters. Now, obviously, there was a gate, so I don't know if it's always open or they, you know, only open at specific times of the day or whatever. I got out here around 8:30-ish, 9 in the morning, and this is all gravel, by the way. But besides this place being, you know, next to the park offices, this is kind of a good spot. Wouldn't be a terrible thing to try to set up here. Well, because we're here and I'm just taking a rest anyway, might as well take a look at the cart a little bit clearer, because in my penthouse studio apartment there's just not a lot of room to get really any wide shots of it. But this is the cart, the preliminary design. I haven't made any changes to it, so it is still the same bar design, flat stock design that I ended with. Underneath we have a bunch of stuff, bunch of tools, fire extinguisher, bucket of water, of course propane, all sorts of stuff. And well, all the things that torch and things to light the forge, all the things that we would need to set up. And well, what I can do is just take the next couple minutes, set up the legs, get everything out and running, not necessarily light the forge, and test the water some more, see if anybody comes out. Hey, look, train's going by. So far, nobody's come out, and it's time to just test the water some more. Actually, you know what? I'll just put my phone here so I don't mess it up in my pocket. Undo the chain. Look at that. Still beautiful, even though I haven't used it officially yet. So, I could even pull it all the way out to the side here, and so that way I can go from the forge to here, even easier. If I were to, I mean, nobody's come out to have a look. No landscapers. All right. So, since nobody's coming out, figured I'd show you some of the things that I brought and my rough plan on what I was gonna, well, try to make and or try to practice with. If I were to open up this book, it's somewhere in here. Right here. So, in this book, there's, you know, fairly simple bottle opener designs, I think, some swirly whoop-de-doos. I've watched a lot of videos on, you know, how to make some of these basic shapes. And I'm not going to do any of the fancy ones or anything like that, but just one of the simpler ones. I mean, I might not even follow any of these designs exactly. Just because right now I'm not necessarily looking to be able to match something like this, but just be able to make something functional or, you know, at all. And so what I have here is I brought 3 1/4-inch mild steel rods, 10 inches each, and I think that'll be a good kind of middle ground. And we'll see. Obviously in here they have a bending jig and bending forks and stuff like that. I don't have that, so I was looking up a lot of videos on how to, you know, bend stuff somewhat like this without any I guess bending tools, and I think I can do it. Maybe. I guess you might be the first to see. But I also brought some beeswax to finish them. This is, through my research, I found that beeswax seems to be a very common natural food-safe finish for metalwork. And this is actually from my father's farm. He has bees and things like that. So this is as natural beeswax as you can get. Of course, I got a wire brush, some paper towels just to clean up anything like the beeswax or anything like that. I have the hammers and a few other odds and ends, nothing too much. I do have under here a container full of water, which I'll take that out and put that on the other side. So that guy's full of water. Of course, my propane, and then in here I do have my fire extinguisher as well as the torch. Oh, one of the, let me see if, am I still recording? Yes. One of the things I also brought, if I, it looks like she's actually going to the dog park. Why would you walk through an amazing park to go to this concrete dog park? That doesn't even make any sense. Anyway, so I did bring another cool item that I forgot to mention, and that is something that I'm excited to use, even if I don't end up making anything on this farm, but temperature gun to, check temperatures. Oh yeah, forgot to mention, one of the things I picked up to help me early on is a set of tongs, and these are specifically, Jesus, some more dogs. These are specifically sized for the 1/4 inch rod, because when I was looking at it, I found that actually just holding on to material this small is actually difficult. So to help me out in the beginning, I picked up a specific pre-made, pair of tongs from Ken's Custom Iron? Is that where I got it? I think I got it from Ken's Custom Iron. I can't remember now. Propane is hooked up. So apparently, the trains are going by. So apparently, I was way wrong about this dog park. There are people coming the whole time. So I think I'm going to light the forge, and at least that's the plan. I think I might light the forge and get the PSI right, and I plan on running it between 5 and 7 PSI. It seems before, apparently, I was running it at the number 1, which is 14 PSI, I found out, and that's pretty high. And so it's a small forge. It's fairly efficient as far as maintaining heat and stuff. So I should be able to run it at, especially with mild steel, at a 5 to 7 PSI, and be able to work relatively efficiently. So I think let's light this forge. Open up the propane, which the valve up there is closed. So let's close this down quite a bit. Or no, that's increasing it. I want to close this down quite a bit and actually let out some of the pressure. Let's see, I want to set it up so that right about there is okay. So let this air out for a second. Don't want any back blasts. And well, here goes the first public lighting of the forge. Looks like I can run it pretty low with the current setup. So I brought a cutoff piece of that bar stock that I made the arms out of. I figured I'll throw this in there, let it heat up with the forge, then I can do a temperature reading off of the fire brick and the steel, and hopefully get a good reading. All right, so it's been running for a couple minutes. At the basically near zero on the gauge, and I turned it up just a little bit, so it's maybe at 0.2 right now on the gauge itself, which maybe even not that, but it's I don't know, it's getting hot. The steel in there is definitely red. I don't even think turning it up was necessary. But turns out this is pretty cool. So I'm going to take a temperature reading of, well, let's just take a temperature reading of the steel over here, 42 degrees. Steel over here, 140 degrees. Let's just look inside the hole. That is 22, 21, 2000, so roughly through the hole it's reading 2000. Let's open it up. So it's reading 23, 22, let's see, 24. So it looks like it's maintaining 2400 degrees Fahrenheit. A bucket of water. Just cool off that piece so I can set it down and not worry about it. This is mild steel, so it should be all good. But considering nobody has well, yelled at me or whatever, and the forge has been running for, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. I haven't hit anything with a hammer because obviously that's like, hey, look at me, I'm hitting stuff. But I'm gonna stick one of these rods in here. So, one of these guys, right here. And I'm going to try to, well, we'll see, make something like this. Now, I know the first thing I have to do is taper flatten out one side and then do some curving, and then this forge is sounding strange. I think the regulator is so low that it's having a hard time maintaining how low it is, which is wild to think about. It's set so low, but it's plenty hot. So I don't know what to tell it, but forge is plenty hot. So, well, I guess I should stick this guy in there, right? Don't need to heat up the whole thing. Let me put the camera down. All right. So, looks like the last dog park person is leaving. So, I'm gonna take this out. It's plenty hot, and I might mess with the exposure just to show you, but it's plenty hot. Well, that moved a lot quicker than I expected. Let's go for a second heat. I don't know if you can tell on there. So one of the quick takeaways from that first and second heat is that forge is plenty hot, even at near zero on the regulator. And that steel moved rather quick. I was expecting a little bit more of a bounce, but essentially it was like 3 or 4 medium hits. I didn't really swing. Maybe it's just because the material's pretty small and it's, well, really hot. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. So I'm just going to continue trying to practice and shape it a little bit, shape that end, and then move on to the other side, I guess, and do a little taper and figure it out. Nobody's bothered me yet, so hey. So I think that's pretty good. It's kind of tapered, somewhat flat. So I'm gonna heat the other side and try to taper that side in a, not a flat way like this, but more spherical. I watched a bunch of videos on people tapering and, well, drawing out, I guess it's called. And they seem to, this is pretty small material, so it shouldn't be too big of a deal, but they seem to like draw out in a square fashion. Even though this is round stock, they hit one side, flip it 90, hit one side, flip it back 90, hit one side, flip, boom, 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 and they kind of draw it out in a square, and then they octagon it, and then they round it when they get the taper, I guess, the way they want. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do. And I've got it all cattywampus already. Figures. Luckily, this is mild steel, so I should have a good amount of wiggle room, I suppose. So I see I'm having difficulty trying to keep this thing straight, and I think that's just a practice thing. So, done a few heats on the tapering side. Obviously, you can probably tell I need some practice. I'm still a little nervous being out here next to a dog park. Another person showed up and, you know, making noise. No more noise than, you know, somebody at the road probably can't even hear me. There's trains going by and all sorts of stuff. But I don't know. This is pretty cool. So far, I clearly need a lot of practice, and I'm probably just going to try to make this one, and then pack up and head out, and just, you know, process everything and, well, not push my luck a little bit. Well, I have the taper. I have the flat end, well, inside the tongs. And, well, I have to start, you know, hooking the bottle opener itself into, well, a bottle opener shape, I guess. And I don't know exactly what I'm doing, but you're gonna watch me fail or do something. So let's do it. Well, that's a bend if I've ever seen one. The videos were right. So now I think I have to bend it back the other way. I have to look at the drawing, or the book, because I don't want to mess up the bends to kind of get somewhat of a shape. So let's do it. And yes, it does have to bend back. So what I'm gonna try to do is actually dip
the curl that I already did in water, in the water I have here, to keep it cool so that I don't mess up that bend. And at least that's what I'm thinking. You know, all this is based on research on the internet. So we'll see how that goes. Didn't quite get the full bend there. I messed up this a little bit, but I think I should, well, I don't know, I don't have many tools, but I should be able to open that up a little bit. What I do have is a pair of these, and I should be able to grab it and kind of bend it, hopefully, open a little bit. Don't really. So it's getting a little squished. I guess that's why a bending jig is nice. But I'm gonna try to heat it up a little bit, round it up a little bit more. But I'm just gonna do my best. It's not perfect by any means. Kind of has a weird shape to it, I guess. But I'm gonna heat this up. I'm gonna take the pliers. Oh, hot! And I'm gonna open that up just a little bit so that I have more room for the bottle cap in there. But I think overall this is not bad. I think that'll do for that end. I'm going to heat it up one last time and do a little wire brushing to it. At least that side, and then I'm going to try to make the other side. Hell yeah. So I'm just taking a breather here. I am at the stage where I'm about to do the back end bend for the bottle opener. And I just wire brushed it and just, you know, doing some stuff. I figured this is the setup. It seems to be working really well. I'm very surprised the amount of, this feels so solid when I hit it. It's really nice. And yeah. That's what we got. And there it is. might have made that bend a little too far back, but I'm just going to continue with it. Oh, the tongs are the most difficult part. Look at that. Starting to make some bends. Not looking too bad. I think I'm going to try to use the smaller hammer I have to finish up the bend there, hopefully. Looks like got a little swirly do. I kind of need to straighten that part out so I can wrap it around, I think is how it goes. So you know what? I think I'm gonna use the pliers for that. If it's not hot enough anymore. Heat it up. Okay, so now I'm going to try to wrap this around going this way. How am I going to do this? Oh, this is going to be a pain, ain't it? It's starting to come around. Use the horn maybe to try to get it. Hopefully you can see. Yeah. And I get a little warmer, and then try to finish wrapping this thing around, and then wire brush it, and we're good. Holy crap, I think I have it. I mean, it's not anything like the ones in the books as far as the actual look of it, but I could fit a bottle cap in there. That looks like a handle to me. So I'm just going to heat it up and do a wire brush, I guess, to it, clean it up, and figure out what I'm going to do next. All right. straightening things up. I think overall as you saw, I think this was a crazy good success. Even though I'm still a little nervous being here in this location, everything went, I mean, I guess according to plan, except I didn't, I'm in a different position, but as far as making my first item with the mobile forge, 100%, right? I know you professional blacksmiths out there will look at this and be like, oh my gosh, it's so terrible. I can't believe you did that. What technique? How do you swing a hammer like that? Well, what can I say? It's my first time. That's closed. Up here, we can turn this off and let the forge cool down. So I think this was a really, well, it was extremely successful. Only a few people bothered me, not too much. The landscapers, I mean, they're all around me. Either they don't care or this isn't really an issue. But I don't know. I can't really. I'm just the fact that I was able to get it out here, make one thing, feel it out. Everything seems to work remarkably well, even though the arms have a little bit of a wobble to them. It might make a difference, I suppose, if I'm working with bigger material, like I really have to swing really hard. I suppose it would probably be more noticeable then, the wobble, and then it would probably, but I mean, just from this little test, oh, man, I can't even express like how thrilled I am with this first outing of the Dookie Forge, the Mega, what is it going to be called? The Mega Mini Mobile Dookie's Mega Mini Mobile Blacksmithing Forge. That's what it is. The DMMMF for short. But that's it. So what I'm going to do last, I think I'm going to put what I made back in the forge for a minute, heat it up a little bit, and then put some beeswax on it. So what we have here is the Al Natural beeswax, as natural as you can get. This is literally straight out of the hives from back home, from family home far away, straight out. So there's no additives, no nothing. It's just all natural beeswax right here. So let's put a little finish on this thing and well, wrap up the day. Hopefully it's not too hot. It might be a little too hot. Let's test it out. Yeah, it's not even sticking to the steel. It's just like evaporating. So I'm gonna let it cool just a second in the air. Should only take a few seconds. There we go. Now we're almost there. A little cooler. All right, let's draw this back a little bit. I want to make sure to get every piece that I can. And then, looks to be good. I'm just going to take some paper towels, kind of dab off the excess. Don't need it dripping and all that stuff. It's just supposed to soak in to the pores of the steel and help keep it from rusting. Voila. That right there. That right there is a beeswax first of Dookie Forge bottle openers. I'll let this thing cool, and then let's have a little fireside chat. Well, I'm letting the forge cool down, kind of gathering my thoughts for this first outing. I would say it was a complete success. You know, it hit some issues. The hill, I'm telling you what, it probably, you know, it's hard to capture it on camera because the camera was flopping all over the place. I couldn't adjust the camera because if I stopped, I would have got stuck on the hill. My chest still hurts from that exertion. It was tough to get up that hill. I'll tell you what, it was everything I had to get up that hill. So I won't necessarily be adding a lot of weight to this cart currently if this is the location I end up coming out to, you know, regularly often or fairly often. One of the other things is, you know, originally I was going to be out in the park over there across the tennis courts, but it was too damp. Now this parking lot I'm in is, you know, it has a gate, and the gate was open. There was a sign that said for authorized personnel only. Obviously that's not me. So I don't know if this parking lot is normally this empty or normally this open, or if the gate closes or anything like that. But as of right now, this is going to be an option when, at least when the ground is damp. And it looks like the rain is not going to stop anytime soon. It's going to be raining all this next week, which is why I kind of rushed out here to give this a shot. It's been way too long since I finished the cart that I haven't even been able to, you know, take it out and test it out. And well, even though it's been a while for me, this is just awesome. Just awesome. So here it is, the finished bottle opener right there, and the cart itself. So I think what I'm going to do now is just clean up, pack up, and get on out of here. Tell you the truth, I have to take a dookie so bad, and I think it's just because I was nervous and the morning exercise pushing this thing up the hill and all this other stuff. It's kind of got me a little worked up, and I got a dookie something fierce. That's why this is Dookie Forge. So I'm gonna clean up and pack up and start rolling out. All right, let's dump out this water. This thing works. Oh, looks like I'm gonna have to wash that out. I got some got some scale in there, but I guess that'll be normal. What I have here is a nice stainless steel, actually a milk carton, and well, works great. And it's stainless, so I don't have to worry about it going, getting all rusty and dirty and stuff. All packed up, getting ready to roll out. There she goes. All over again. Chained up and tied up. Everything's looking good. I'm gonna close those doors, obviously, when I start walking. The chain's all nice and tight. And that is why a mobile forge is awesome. All right, let's roll out. Oh my gosh, I'm home. So I made it home, as you hopefully saw. And if I got one takeaway from this whole first experience, is holy crap, I'm tired. I probably expended 1,000% more energy just pushing the cart than actually blacksmithing. So that's something to keep in mind. But overall, even though it was a lot harder to push the cart than I expected, it was a success. We made it there. We made our first item right here. I still haven't tested it on a bottle. I don't have a bottle currently, but I'll probably run out to the store when I take a nap for the next 24 hours. But it's all done. So I guess, what do we do next? You know, we built the mobile forge. It works. It's exhausting to get out there, but it works. And I'll hopefully build up a little bit of strength to help push this thing around a little easier. But it works. So now this bottle opener was based on the one in the book. It doesn't look necessarily anything like any of their examples as far as the proportions. I think I made this back swirly a little bigger, and I took up a little bit more room with the actual bottle hooks bends. But it was a success. So where do we go from here? Obviously, there's no way I can push this cart out every single day. I will be exhausted too much. But I'm hoping to be able to go out somewhat regularly. My hope is at least once a week. We'll see. Obviously, it is weather dependent. And I didn't make it to the original location I wanted to because the grass was too wet. So the parking lot is kind of a variable. I don't know if I got lucky today or it's going to be regularly. I could go out there and nobody's going to have an issue. We'll see. But as far as where do we go from here? Well, my goal, it wasn't to build a mobile forge. It was to build a mobile forge so that I can practice blacksmithing and start learning, I guess, the foundational skills necessary to, well, blacksmith things. From all my research and reading, bottle openers are like the quintessential beginner's item. And I don't know what I'm doing really. So as far as like making exciting things and knives and all this other stuff, I don't have the skill to do that first. And I don't know what I'm doing. So from all my kind of preliminary research, I think, like I've read this in a lot of places, but bottle openers, they say make 100 of these before you move on. So I think what I'm going to try to do is make 100 of these. I don't know if that'll be good for videos. Probably won't be good for videos because I'll be doing the same thing over and over. And making one at a time definitely is not an efficient video usage. So I'm going to have to figure it out. I might, go out and video less, but make a lot more, right? So maybe that's what I'll do. And, if I can make 5 in a session, that would be really good. Obviously, I'd probably need to make more to making 100 of these somewhat efficient or not exciting. But I think this will be the road to 100 bottle openers. I'm exhausted. I'm going to eat, and I'll see you next time. I'll leave you with this video's quote of the week.
Hey, who's that quote-a-mon? Hello, I'm Reese Witherspoon. I am so amazing. I often get confused for that guy over there with the fork. Anyway, I'm here to deliver this week's Clouds of the Week. So here it is. He who questions training only trains himself at asking questions. That quote is from someone I respect. Not that guy with the fork or the spork. Okay, well, I'm gonna leave now and go eat ice cream with my Reese's Pieces. Gross.